episode 2.
Yeah, man.
Episode 2.
Yeah.
You want to start
No, you
off?
go
You
ahead,
want to
man. 'Cause
start
you
it
got to
off?
you got to do your little spiel, man. Go ahead.
I don't really have a spill, honestly. I'm kind of thinking yo got no spill,
Yeah.
but I ain't got no spill, man.
uh,
But Day of Days, right? Day
Their
of Days.
days.
That's episode 2. Band of Brothers, episode 2. Day of Days, right? Um, so again, the opening interview pulled me in, right? Where they talk about putting their faith in the training, right? When you in the worst possible predicament, right? So they jumping out of airplanes while the airplane's getting hit by missiles, bombs, whatever, right? But they gotta they like he's like, all right, let's just like I just know we've been trained on this. So let's just fall to the training. That's hard, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we might have been trained on whatever. Like they might have been throwing water balloons at whatever. Like we getting shot. Like wings is falling off this plane. It's fire. People was on fire, bro. You know, and it's like, boom. It's still time to operate like we've been trained. We talk about it when it comes to like DC. You know what I mean? We talk about it like it's like, yo, we know we've been trained on this. We've been trained on it, you know, the under the leadership of like qualified trainers, but when them embers really, you know what I'm saying? When
Start
that
hitting.
fire really hitting,
Wow.
is different. You know what I mean? But like into the episode, the opening sequence was amazing. It was amazing. And this was a '01 TV show, man. It was amazing, gripping. It was intimate still. It was detailed. Like the amount of attention to detail they pay to this show, Band of Brothers. I don't know if you ever
I
saw
didn't
that,
see it.
Joe, but
I
Band of
remember
Brothers.
it. I didn't.
Yeah, yeah, when it was out,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was something I never watched either. But the amount of attention that they pay to like the detail is crazy in this show, man. It's like you're there almost. Like I couldn't believe it. Um, then a couple things. So this was primarily a battle episode, right? It was more battle than mostly anything else, with some interaction and character development. But like the fact that all right, so now again you failed at your training, but then y'all did y'all drop and y'all plane got hit, so y'all lost items. You don't have half the shit that you packed up to have with you to go into war because y'all lost items on a drop, right? That was crazy. That hit me. You know what I'm saying? The dude that almost cried in the beginning too when he was telling the story, and he was like, "Man,
Yeah,
we
yeah, that
lost a
was
lot of
deep.
good people." Yeah, that hit me. But watching this show though, I can't lie. I mean, this is our Martin Luther King Day episode, and we did talk a lot about culture, and we did talk a lot about race. But watching this show, it did give me a lot of credence to why Spike Lee wanted to make Miracle at St. Anna, um, because it wasn't that diverse. Um, and I'm not saying that the show wasn't that diverse and they could have made it more diverse. Maybe those units really weren't that diverse, you know, in that time period or whatever like that. So I'm happy to see Spike Lee did, you know, talk about the Buffalo Soldiers. It's obvious differences between TV shows from now and back in '01 though, because it don't matter even if the unit wasn't diverse. If they made that show now, they gonna throw a couple black soldiers in there. You're gonna get some LGBT. You probably get a couple LGBTQ characters in there. You're
Yeah.
gonna get some Asian Pacific Islander characters in there. They're gonna like make
Yep.
the team diverse because that's the time we live in right now. But basically, I'm not saying that the situation then, you know, World War II wasn't like. I'm not saying that's far fetched. It could have been a group of 45, you know, white guys. You know what I'm saying? Like just all the same race, you know. And then even in that unit, they was like busting jokes at each other. The dude was from Pennsylvania, he's calling him a
Yeah.
Quaker, and like it was even like still some, you know. But I realized that the show opened up, and now Winters is narrating. You know, Lieutenant Winters is the narrator of the
Yeah.
show. That hit me. Another thing that hit me, I like, was at the end. So at the end of the episode, so this episode's about a battle, right? Soon as they get to Normandy, they doing a battle. They trying to take over like an operating area, the enemy operating area. And the awards, they showed the awards that the dudes got for that battle at the end of the show. When the episode was over. That was a great touch to show those awards that those dudes got. And then they also showed you at the end of the episode that these dudes, whatever they did, like they were pioneering like different types of assaults, things that got taught later in school to other, you know, military members coming up in school. Like these things was the first time it wasn't like they was using somebody else's blueprint. like they were creating the blueprint for war
Yeah.
or whatever. And then it's how easily you could bond and lose somebody. Like, beginning of the episode, you see people meeting each other for the first time and figuring out where you know somebody from. Oh shit, I know you from here. We play ball together. And then the end of the episode, this dude's dead.
Yeah.
The end of the episode, this dude's dead. And that's like a crazy thing about connections when it comes to the military. So that they some of the things that stood out about, again, the writing is always good. The action was really good. This don't look like a show at all. It looked like a movie. And for us to be 20 years removed from the show, man, it looked like it was made like just 2 weeks ago or something like that. So I'm looking forward to episode 3, looking forward to more character development. Again, this was more about the battle. Some of the character stuff I might have like didn't catch it. I had to watch watch it over, but this was a good episode
Yeah.
though.
So
A lot more action than
yeah,
episode
yeah.
1.
Hey, so what I got out of it, man, from watching the last episode to this episode was the fact of, man, like the thought process of you're dropping into battle. Like the movie showed it in episode 2 where they pretty much came out of the clouds under fire. Like I'm talking about time the plane was like it was smooth, everything was going, and all of a sudden, man, you got missiles, they getting fired upon, they part of the ship exploding, people catching on fire, like Dumbo said. It was like all type of shit that was going on. But when these people jump out of these planes, man, you're jumping into war. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Bullets are
crazy.
flying as you coming down on your parachutes into war. Now, when you want to talk about a mindset,
Yes.
that's a mindset right there. So you know what you jumping into, and the things that's going on at that point in time, man, was crazy. But they always, like Damo said, they did fall back to their training though. They was trying to find landmarks, they was trying to find certain things, and then you losing things. You got a radio man, don't have a radio. You got a guy that hit the ground. He ain't got his he ain't got his gun. You know what I mean? He ain't got nothing to
Yeah.
defend himself with. So it was crazy though. About the mindset. And then once they found a landmarks, they started finding they was like finding other people that was from different platoons. You know what I mean? There they was getting together trying to go to a certain point. But I tell you, man, you had to fall back on your training because how would you get from point A to point B? Like they didn't
Mhm.
know. They had to drop early because what they was doing was they was going to drop at
Yeah,
a
they had to
certain
drop
point.
early.
Then they kind of know where they at. But once
Yeah.
all the bullets started flying and stuff, they had to jump early. So they didn't know where the hell they
Yeah.
was at. So that was a big deal right there, man. And then he ended up they couldn't find the character, they couldn't find his CO, so then he had to become, the commanding officer and things like that. So that was some good stuff, man. Then just the way the interaction between everybody was kind of different too. Like, they was calling each other names, and it was a lot of
Yeah.
crazy stuff going on, man. But it was a good show, right? You're right, man. Demo. This is the from the time like a real war story. This is like a real like war type story, man. People like dude got shot in the ass. You know what I mean? Like it was all
Yeah,
it was all type
yeah,
of
yeah,
shit that was happening, man. Like it was like some
yeah, yeah. He's like, you think this gonna get me sent home?
yeah,
He was
yeah,
mad. I thought he wanted to go home. He
yeah.
was mad. Like,
So yeah, man,
yeah, that
it
was
was pretty good, man.
dope.
I didn't get to the war part, man, because the time time I see start writing that the movie's over, that was it for me, man. I clicked it off, so I didn't get to the to the war.
Oh, you ain't get to see the
Yeah,
okay.
to the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They showed you. Yeah, they showed you who won. A lot of them, like 10
yeah.
of them, won
That's
awards
good.
for that battle.
That's good, man.
Like most of them. So, and I'm happy that the show is highlighting,
Yeah.
these guys like that.
But one more
That
thing I want to highlight was if you ever get to watch it, Joe, man, in the beginning of each one of these shows, they had like the guys that was part of it talk. And man, hey man, it's like yeah,
Yeah,
that's a big
that's the
yeah.
gripping part.
Their
Yeah.
mindset though, they had like the first episode, they talked about it a little bit. Their mindset, man, they just wanted to go to war. They didn't care. They wanted to help. They was volunteering to do this stuff, man. That was crazy.
That's deep. Like that's deep buy-in, man. Like to have that heart like that, man. Knowing that you're gonna be like jumping out there in front of man, ain't no. I like now I think about it, I'd be like, could I always ask myself, could I have did that? And I really honestly don't think I could do that. Knowing that like you
Yeah.
gonna jump out when people are shooting at you, you won't like right then and there, you don't even know if you're gonna make it to the ground. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like you might not even, as soon as they open, like I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I could
hey,
do that, man.
send me and my team in. We make us a base. We put a plan together. We go execute. Man, you jumping into
you jump that
You look, you be
jumping
hard
in.
pressed. You hard pressed to find somebody jump out of plane just on a regular. Like you not jumping out of plane on a regular.
No,
Like you jumping out of
man.
planes
That
like
crazy.
they got bullets big enough that's tearing up the
yeah,
plane.
that's
And
what
you
I'm
jumping
like,
out on that.
man. Like that's hard, man. That's like that's
Yeah.
mental. Like I don't know. I don't even know what to call that, man. Like it's a whole nother
Yeah, me either.
level now. Like I'm
Whole
glad
nother
I'm
level.
just glad times have evolved to where we don't have to do that type of fighting
Yeah, we
anymore.
don't
You know
gotta
what I
do that.
mean? But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
but still on that same aspect, man. It's just like to me that's the heart of bravery. Like when you go to that point, there's no coming back mentally from that.
Yeah.
There's no
And you ready
like
for the
Yeah.
consequences. Your
yeah.
consequences you ain't really caring about no more. That's
No,
out the window.
you're not. But then
Yeah,
Yeah.
you sign
then when they get
yeah.
back, if you made it, you're like you're not normal. You're not. There's no
Yeah.
normal.
Not the
There's no
same
normal.
person,
But
right?
yeah, you're
Yeah.
not the same person. You have like changed forever. And I had an uncle who was in the who did that. He was like a gunner on helicopters, and they would go help pick up people in war. Were they in Vietnam? But they would go down and pick up bodies while they were being injured. But he was like the gunner on the machine. But he always shows me like his bullet wound that where he's gotten hit, and he knew they were shooting at him, but they had to go back down there anyway. And I'm like, but I talked to him, and mentally, like a lot of stuff he couldn't process. He died like last year or 2 years ago. He couldn't process, man. He just couldn't like. His mind was not the same anymore. You know what I mean? Like, and I hear stories of him, like, my aunt would still tell me, like, sometimes she couldn't sleep in the bed with him because he'd flip out. You know what I mean? From nightmares or, like the PTSD, like, or he couldn't be in certain areas anymore because of the flashbacks and things like that. And those are the things I think about, like coming back from that, man. Like, you go back to a family where like some of them can't even cope with being in the house with their family anymore because they flip out. Like, you know what I mean? They just can't be there and things like that. And their life changes, man. Like, that's something like, there's a price for everything, but that's a high price to pay, man, for
Yeah.
what you did.
For your country, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
rough.
man.
It is.
Woo.
That's rough, man.